want to continue our programming discussion. So in the first video, we talked more about like sort of macro view of programming, some basic guiding tenets, and I'm sure that we have a little more paring down understanding of what this programming looks like and how to execute on it. I think a few things that are important to understand, and one is just results, right? Our goal is to get results, and it's not to make a hard workout. It's not to make a workout that makes you feel like you got a workout. Remember, it's not hard to make a hard workout. It's called a boot camp class. It's called battle ropes, and lack of range of motion, lack of skill, high intensity stuff that is relatively easy. And once in a while, that stuff's fine. Don't get me wrong. And if that's all you care about, that's fine. That won't yield the greatest results. We understand there's a neuroendocrine response and a neurological response when we do functional movements that are difficult, that are challenging, that require learning. And it's really hard to argue against this because I've yet to find any high-level CrossFitter, consistent CrossFitter, weekend warrior CrossFitter like my dad that have less results than anyone else out there. I mean, CrossFitters that do this stuff consistently and really well look good, feel good, play good. And let's talk about some of the guiding tenets that we need to understand. Specifically, higher skill movements can't be avoided because of the response it delivers to the body. If your program is missing muscle-ups, handstand push-ups, handstand walks, rope climbs, things like that, then we're missing out. Because the scaling options, and it's like, well, what if I don't have those? What if I have an older clientele? Whatever it might be. Remember, the scaling options at the very least give your members some fun, something new, something different. And the monotony in traditional workout regimes really is what deters people over time. So doing a pull to stand, or walking with dumbbells overhead for a handstand walk, or doing a wall walk of some variation, doing a muscle-up transition can be very physically taxing if scaled appropriately, but also a little different and a little fun, and that's something that is important. So that is a guiding tenet to effective programming. Heavy lifting. We need to lift at least once a week, and it can be within a workout, it can be, in its own workout, it can be within accessory work, but again, what it does to the body is so unique and so special. And our members need this, and it should be a focus for the day. We should have a heavy day just once in a while because of what it does to the body. And also, we need to have that lift. It's a break on the body from intensity all day, every day. Remember that there's an ebb and flow of going long, going short, and going heavy, and then mixing that. So it's an important piece in your programming methodology as well. So it's not just, well, we lift because we lift or because we're a strength and conditioning program. It's also, it allows us to have a beautiful patterning for the body. So understanding that is also important, where it allows us to hit our workouts with high intensity when we do that, but it also allows us to dial back, have a different type of intensity with heavy load as opposed to high rep or high speed. So, and then the next level down is simply, we need to be programming that allow us to coach. What I mean by that is, when we program, we should be programming to understand that our goal is to get our people to move well while hitting those workouts. So if we take a workout like yesterday at my gym, for example, we did, and at the hand plan program, it was 400 meter run and 21 burpee box overs with dumbbells. Now, this is a unique workout. We don't do it too often for the simple reason it's really grunt work, but also when you do that burpee dumbbell box over, it puts your body in a relatively poor position, which means you need some level of capacity because you're not going to be picking those dumbbells off the ground with a fully neutral S curvature of the spine. There's going to be a little bit of rounding because of the object is so low. It's a dumbbell deadlift, then you're going to be dropping it down. It's high rep. These are things you need to think about when you program workouts like this, that one, we need to scale it where that load is light, where we have a buffer of strength. Two, we shouldn't be programming this all of the time, or else we're putting ourselves in poor positions all of the time. And three, understanding that you do need to make sure your athletes can lower their hips and pull their chest up in those positions. If not, we do need to scale. This all goes into mind with the programmer. If you're programming this without that thought process, there's a massive void. And it's the novice's curse to overprogram an overly complex program of work to rest and percentages based off blah, 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 blah. That's all bullshit, okay? And if you're doing one-on-one with an athlete, do whatever you want. But it doesn't have to be that complex, because you're going to have work to rest ratio within a workout. If someone's not moving well, slow them down, clean them up. And this all needs to go into the understanding within that workout. So that's another thought process that needs to come into mind. And throughout this process, we should be starting to understand that, okay, programming there's a lot of work, absolutely. And for me, programming a workout is actually easy because I've been doing it for so long and I've worked out many workouts. It's the implementation, the lesson planning, the scaling, the thought process that goes into that execution. And that's what we do for affiliates and for competitors. We try to do that work for them because that takes work. This thought process takes the work. The coupling of movements, movement function, time domain, the analysis, that's relatively easy when you have a bunch of experience. It's the implementation, and we program for a lot of affiliates that are just like that. Their programming is probably great, but it's the implementation that we try to deliver that takes a lot of time. So hopefully we find some value in some of that stuff there. And then finally, it's got to be fun and you got to be relaxed. What I mean by that is the program doesn't matter too much. You got to be able to give your people some fun. You got to be able to relax a little bit. You got to be able to deviate from the program. You have to add in accessory work, do tweaks, change this, change that. Just communicate with your people. The program matters very little in the implementation and the consistency that it is done. However you choose to do that does not matter. But if your people aren't doing the program and aren't happy, then it doesn't matter. You got to have fun. You got to relax. Just chill. Stop taking this stuff so seriously. Okay, I've been in this world of CrossFit for a long time. I've seen a lot of gyms succeed. I've seen a lot of gyms fail. And the reason why gyms fail is just because we lose sight of what really matters. Caring, giving a shit, having fun. The program, if people are complaining about the programming, it's because people aren't getting better or they're not aware they're getting better, which I've said numerous times. The programming should allow your members to get better. The coaching and the consistency and follow-up and implementation should be allowing them to know how they get better. And that's ideal. So that's my little piece on programming. The last little thing I'm going to give you is look for trends, but if you're not pushing yourself as a coach to get them new skills, new movements, then the programming does not matter. Your people should be getting better. They should be good at strict movements. It's not a competition, but again, we should be getting them better. We should be increasing skills, increasing capacity. It's not about winning a workout, it's about getting fitter. Today's workout doesn't matter. Your programming should reflect that. We talked about analysis, we talked about complementary movements, things like that. In the next piece, what I want to also talk about is when we actually program across a week, what is our thought process from an intensity and recovery perspective? And what does that look like? And then what is a focus for the week or month or whatever, called a mesocycle? So we can get a little nerdy on micro, meso, and macro cycles. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments, let me know.